Okay, so in this lab, we're going to set up the file server. We're going to set up the file server for our lab environment. So we're going to install the file server role, and we're going to configure some network shares. And then in the client lab 7.3, we're going to test those file shares. So here we're going to set them up. We're going to push them out via group policy. And you guys will get a good idea of how that's done with this lab. So I'm already logged into my lab here, so I need to open the Hyper-V manager. And the first item on this list is we need to add an additional hard drive to the file FSPS machine here. And the reason we're doing that is because we don't want to have the files stored directly on the C drive, so we're going to add a drive letter called S for shared drives. So first we need to start or add that. So we're going to go to our TEC330 FSPS, and we're going to go to settings, and then we're going to add a hard disk. And we can just do new. And then we're going to hit next. And then we want dynamically expanding. And then we're going to call this TEC330 FSPS / shared. We're going to hit next, and we don't want this to be 127. We're going to make it 20 gigs just to make sure we have enough space. And then we're going to hit finish. Okay, so now we have 2 hard disks on this server. So we'll hit apply here. We'll hit OK. And then we want to start ADDC and FSPS. So we'll go ahead and start this one. Wait a couple seconds and then start the second one. Okay. I'm going to open both of these up, the console window, just so that they're open. And there's both of our machines. Over so we can see them separately. So the next step here is after we log into the FSPS machine as the administrator, we need to finalize the installation of that new hard drive. So we need to initialize, format, and assign it the drive letter S. So we'll do that once it comes up here. And keep in mind that now we're on a domain. You may have to wait until the domain controller is up fully before you can log in as the domain admin, but you can see that the domain controller is usually pretty quick to come up. Okay, so now we can do Control-Delete, and we can log in as our TEC330 administrator. Obviously, in a normal world, you'd be using not the administrator account, but for all intents and purposes for this, it's fine for the lab environment. All right, so once you get to the desktop, if you wait for Server Manager to load, you can get to Disk Management, which is where we need to be in order to add this new drive. So if we go under Computer Management, I'm sorry, you can get to computer management here, which disk management is inside of computer management. So if we go into computer management, we'll have an option here in a minute once it loads. So go to disk management, and then we should have a new disk in here. You can see that it's unallocated, so we're going to say it's online, and then we need to initialize it, and we're going to do the GPT GUID partition table. And then we need to do a new simple volume, and you basically just hit next here, and then we want to make this the S drive, so we want to make sure we select S, hit next, and then I'm going to give it a volume label. I'm just going to say shared, and then hit finish, and there we go. So now we have an S drive that we're going to store our files in. So if we go under this PC, now we see we have S and C. So what we want to do now is move on to the next step, which is to install the file server role. So to install the file server role, we go back to Server Manager, and then we go to Manage, and then Add Roles and Features. I'm going to click on this just so it goes away. And then we're going to hit Next on the first screen. Next because we want role-based, and then next because we're doing it on this server. And then you can see that file and storage services are already kind of checked, but we want to select file and iSCSI services, and then we are going to do DFS replication, file server resource manager, and I think that is it. Yes. And then we're going to hit next, and then under features, I don't believe there's anything we need to enable here. So we're going to hit next, and then we're going to say restart if it needs it. And then we're going to do install. And then this will take a second. Okay, so now that's completed. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to close this Server Manager window. And then we're going to go in and we're going to open up the so you can get to the shares from computer management, and then you can go under shared folders and then shares, and you can do a new share from here, or you can actually go under Server Manager and go to File and Storage Services and then Shares, and then you could do new share, right? So typically you use SMB, but you know, sometimes you use NFS. So we're just going to do SMB share quick for this, and then it's going to be on our I guess we have to create the folder first. Okay, so first we have to create the folder. So we're going to go under the shared drive, the S drive, and we're going to create a folder called User Share and IT Share. So let's do the first one. We're going to do User Share, and then we're going to do one called IT Share. Okay, so now we have that. go back to our new share wizard. So we're going to select the S drive here, and then you can see that it puts it to a shares folder on your file path. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this user share. So this is going to be our user share. And then you always want to do access-based enumeration and then allow caching. Actually, we're going to turn off caching. And then here you can customize permissions. So here, what we're looking to do is we're basically looking to give domain admins full control, information technology full control, and then domain users read control to that top level user share folder. So what we want to do is we're going to do customize permissions, and then we're going to add, and we're going to select a principal, and we're going to do domain admins, and we're going to give them full control. Okay. And then we're going to do domain users, and we're going to give them read and execute and list folder contents. And then we're going to do information technology and give them full control. And then we're going to hit apply, and then we're going to hit OK. Then we're going to hit next, and then we're going to hit create. Okay, so now if we go under our shares folder, we have a user share folder. And if we look at this, we can see that sharing is turned on. Here's the network path, right? So the network path is actually just this /user share, not shares. It's important to note that. And then if we look at the security, we can see here's all the permissions that we set. And then inside of there, we can create folders. Now, looks like we want to do the same thing and create an IT share. So we can go back to our window here, and we can create a new share called IT share. So we're going to pick the S drive again. Call this IT share. And then we want access based and disable caching. And then for this one, what we want to do is we want to add in domain admins for full control. And then we also want to add in information, I believe, yeah, information technology, yes. So I'm going to add in information technology, give that full control. Okay, so we hit apply, okay, hit next, and hit create. Now if we go back to our folder, now we have IT share as well. So go to properties, you can see sharing, and then we can see the security, and we can see that this one only users of the server, which generally are going to be actually we're going to remove this. You can hit edit here, we can remove this users. I don't know, we can't remove it. It's fine for this scenario. Alright, so we got those. So now what we want to do is we want to create the accounting, HR, and sales folders underneath of there. And then we need to set the permissions on that for each group. So accounting is going to get the accounting group, HR is going to get the HR group, and sales is going to get the sales group. So let's do that. So we're going to do a new folder, accounting. I spell accounting right. Then we're going to do new sales, and then HR. Okay, so now we need to set the permissions on these. So if we go under the properties, again, if we look at the sharing, you can see that this folder is shared. But we want to go into security here, and we want to remove domain users. Or actually, before we do that, we need to go in here and go into advanced, and we need to disable inheritance. So what that's going to do is that's going to let us remove the domain users from here, because we don't want everybody to be able to access this folder. We only want the specified users. So I'm going to add the accounting group, and we're going to give them modify access, and then we're going to hit apply, and we're going to hit OK. And now only the accounting users should have access to that folder. Now we're going to basically do the same thing with HR. Go to security, go to advanced, disable inheritance. We want to convert, and then we're going to remove domain users, and we're going to add HR, human resources. We're going to give a modify, okay, apply, okay, okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with sales. Advanced, disable, convert, remove domain users, and then we're going to add the sales group. Basically, this is just making it so that the other users cannot see what's inside of those folders. So this folder here, the IT share folder, is going to be pretty wide open because you know, it's just for the IT department. So no need to restrict that any further. Okay. So we've assigned the permissions. Alright, so next it looks like we need to log into the domain controller and set up the group policy so these drives get mapped on the client machines. So here, I'm going to log in as the administrator account. Now once Server Manager loads, I'm going to go into Group Policy Management. And inside of here, we're going to create two GPOs. We're going to create a user shared drive and an IT shared drive. And here's where we're going to link them. And then here's where we're going to map the drive to. And I will show you guys how to map that. It's relatively easy. So we're in our default domain policy when you go in by default. So we're going to go under Group Policy Objects, and we're going to create a new Group Policy Object. We're going to call this User Shared Drive. I believe that's what we're calling it. Yep. Okay. And we're going to go in to this one, and we're going to go to Settings. Oops, I'm sorry. We're going to open it like we want to edit it. And then this is going to be under User Policies. Windows settings. Actually, it's under preferences, I believe. Yep. I'm sorry. I was wrong. It's under user configuration, preferences, and then drive maps. Right, so here what we're going to do is we're going to right click in the window. We're going to say new mapped drive, and then the location. You want update because update is going to create the drive if it doesn't exist and update the drive if it's different. So what we need to do is we need to put our folder path in. So first one is going to be this folder path. Copy. And clipboard. Type clipboard text. We want the reconnects checked. And then we'll just say shared for the label. And then we want to use the S drive for this one. And then this should be it. I believe you want to run this in a logged on user security context. And then we're going to hit apply. Okay, so we have an S here. So that takes care of this one. You can also do this with a login script via the login, log on, log off scripts. So you can actually do a script here or a PowerShell script if you want. However, you know, for this example, we're just gonna do it via the drive maps preference. Okay, so this is going to apply to any users that get this policy. So now that we've done that, and we go back and look at settings, we can refresh this. And now we can see our drive maps under our settings. And now what we can do is we can right click on it and, oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. We can go to our accounting folder and we can link an existing GPO. We're going to use user shared drive. We can link it to our HR folder. And then we can link it to our IT folder. And then we can link it to our sales folder. Okay, so now we've got that one. So now we need to create the IT shared drive object, or GPO. So we're going to do, call this IT shared drive. Okay. And we're going to edit this one. And we're going to basically do the same thing again. Except this time we're going to do a different drive path and drive letter. And again, this is only going to apply to the IT folder, so that any users that are in the IT folder are going to get this drive. So we can type our clipboard text out again, reconnect, this IT share, and we're going to give this the I drive, and then we're going to run in the logged on user security context, and then we're going to hit apply and OK. Then we're going to close this one out, and then we're going to link this one to the IT folder. So we're going to go there, we're going to right click on the IT folder, link an existing GPO, select our IT shared drive, and there we go. Now we have those set up. Alright, so you'll want you'll want to send screenshots of either the share here, like this, or if you did it under computer management, you should also see the shares here as well. That's pretty much it. There is one other thing that commonly is done on shared folders, and if you go back to the shares folder and then under sharing, you can go to advanced sharing. Oh, it's not on that folder. I'm sorry. Not the shares folder. It would be on these folders. So if you go under the sharing and then you go to advanced sharing, you can actually do the permissions here. And you can see how it says everyone. Usually what I like to do is remove that and just do domain users here, so that it's always going to require a domain user to connect to it. Because generally you don't want network devices connecting to this that don't have an identity tied to them. That would be a security issue. So generally that's what I do. I just remove everyone and add domain users. And you want to make sure they have read-only control. I don't know why I selected full control on the one before that. We want security, share. We want read-only. Okay, so you'll want to take a screenshot of this or this area here, and then also what you'll want to do is you'll want to take a screenshot of your IT shared drive settings screen here with the drive map information, as well as your user shared drive with the drive map information here. And that's it for this lab. If you're moving on to the next lab, you can actually just leave these two servers turned on and start the next lab.